for the two teams that are running. So how this will run is we will ask a series of questions to each team, and they will have roughly about 5 minutes to answer each question, as well as if you have an individual question that you want to ask one of the teams, if we have time at the end, we will have a chance to answer those. And what you'll do is there are two tables, this middle coffee table and that stand-up table back there. You can go and write down a question that you wish to have answered. So these are our two teams. We have Kelsey and Amber running, and then Madison and Austin as well. So just be respectful, and yeah, so we're going to get started.
I'm going to open us up in a word of prayer. Lord, thank you so much for today and just the passions and gifts that you've given everyone in this room and everyone participating. I pray that this would be a time that glorifies you, gives us knowledge and understanding of what you're doing, and you just give all of us clear words and clear understanding of what everyone is saying. We love you and we thank you. Amen. Okay, so now we are going to transition into a time of the candidates telling us who they're about, introducing themselves, and answering some questions. So, Kelsey and Amber, do you guys want to go first?
I'm Kelsey Edmonds, and I'm running for president of SGA. I am a junior here, and I'm also a counseling psychology major. I believe my time on SGA for the past 2 years as the Campus Life Chair of Executive Council has prepared me for this position in leadership, as well as my experiences on the Campus Life Committee my freshman year.
Hi, I'm Amber Murphey, and I'm a junior biology major here. I am running for SGA Vice President, and I'm doing so because I've been involved in a bunch of the clubs, like STEM Club, and I've also been the editor for the Talon. And my involvement in those has really made me passionate about clubs and getting people involved in those. I'm Madison Smith. Academically, I'm a junior here at Tico Falls College. I'm studying interpersonal communication. For the past couple years, I have been a tour guide for the Office of Admissions, and I kind of had the privilege of walking through the process of students transitioning from high school to college. And that's really given me the perspective of what it feels like to kind of plant roots in a new place. So students are coming from their home in high school and moving into a temporary home of college. And as I thought through that, it really gave me inspiration for this campaign and thinking of how can we use Student Government Association as a platform for helping students plant roots here and call this place their temporary home for the 3 or 4 years that they're here. And so as I thought through that, that kind of became like the core of my campaign. And so two things that Austin and I talked about is we really think that two things that really help create a sense of home in any place is spiritual and relational growth. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the spiritual growth, and then Austin wanted to share a little bit of his thoughts on relational growth. But I feel like I believe that any student, by the time they leave this place, they need to feel that they've grown in their relationship with the Lord. And I feel like student government is the perfect platform for us to tap into that potential that this place has, and how can we partner with students? Because I feel like the freshman class this year inspired me so much. I think they're the coolest people because they really have taken leadership spiritually on campus, and they have started worship events and become spiritual leaders. And I really feel like student government is a great opportunity, if I were to have that opportunity, to really partner with them and help provide them with more resources and create an atmosphere of spiritual growth here.
My name's Austin Rapier. I'm also a junior in the classroom, and my major is ministry and leadership, and I'm running for the position of vice president. Throughout my 3 years here, she talked about spiritual. I'm going to talk about relational within the context of our kind of campaign we're going along here. Throughout my 3 years here, I've been involved in many different things on campus. My freshman year and also currently my junior year, I'm involved in TFC athletics. I'm a member of the TFC baseball team. And that's really taught me how to build relationships within the context of a different culture. Because whether people like it or not, the TFC athletics culture is much different than the culture of TFC just as a normal student. And I've gotten to build and grow relationships with guys on the team that otherwise I would have never gotten to know them just being a normal student. My sophomore year, I was a resident assistant in Forest. 3B is the best law ever. Through that experience of being a resident assistant on campus, I got to see how relationships help people form new homes. Through that, I saw students who struggled, who moved into campus from their home and have never been away from home that long in their life, struggle to put roots down and struggle to make this place a new home. But also at the same time, I saw other students, and with the opportunity of being a RA, build relationships and allowing them to realize that TFC is a safe place and it can be your home for the next 4 years. And I've seen those students thrive in this community. And then last semester, I was also part of the ambassador team in TFC Office of Admissions. And through that, I saw how relationships are very important from the perspective of a new freshman or a new student coming in on campus, whether that's me being able to show off giving tours to the college that I have called my home for the last 3 years, and showing those kids and new students coming in that this place is my home, and I have made new relationships that have allowed me to call this my home. And so me and Madison believe that if you bring these two things together, spiritual and relational growth, that we as candidates are the best option to bring these two to fruition and make TFC a new home.
Okay, thank you guys. So the next question is for Kelsey and Madison for the SGA president candidates. And so the question is, what made you decide to run for SGA president?
Being involved the past 2 years on executive council has been really an enlightening experience. First, under the leadership of Seth and Shelby, really got poured into in a new way that I had never really experienced before, and had the opportunity to really grow in that position because I was doing things that I had never really done before, planning large-scale events for a whole campus of people of all different backgrounds. And I was scared, honestly, but it was so enriching and such a great time being on SGA. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I love their presence. And then again this year, under y'all's leadership, also been grown in new ways, being with a new team of people on exec. And there's just something special about executive council and the atmosphere and the family experience has been great. And just my time here at TFC has just been, I can't even explain it, put it into words, how much growth I've been through. Specifically, I believe that all these things together have equipped me to be an effective president, as I am a driven individual and also have had years of experience in leadership and leading a team and working under a team, working alongside a team.
So I think I really started to think about running for student government my first semester, freshman year, because of the positive impact that Student Government Association had on me when I came in. The events and everything that they did that first week we were on campus just really got me so excited to be here, and I felt okay, this is my community, this is my people, and I love the idea of having that same influence in the lives of new incoming freshmen as well as current students here, and continuing to foster that community that I experienced for myself when I first came here. And both had the opportunity to know both of the students who've been student government president both years, and both of them have just been positive influences in my life, and I really want the opportunity to have that influence on other people. And so I think just kind of as a way to just give back to what was given to me when I came in my first year.
So this next question is for both teams, and either vice president or president can answer. So what issues do you want to see addressed this upcoming school year if you're elected as SGA president and vice president? So Madison and Austin, y'all go ahead.
So the first, I'll talk a little bit about one thing, and Austin can touch on the other. But one thing that we talked about is just students leaving on the weekends. We feel like sometimes there's a lack of involvement on the weekends, and we want there to be a motivation to stay here, and we want there to be a motivation to have community here on the weekends when we don't have to be here for classes. Like, we want people to choose to be here. And also just students returning the next year. We want you to feel like, you know, we leave for summer and you're like, I can't wait to get back in the fall, because like that's my community, that's my people. And so that was something we talked about that we wanted to address is, you know, what are ways that we can use student government as an association as a means by which we keep students on campus on the weekends and keep them coming back every year.
Yeah, another big part for me, being part of Res Life my sophomore year, I saw a lot of students that obviously kind of felt left out from the community. And coming from an athletic background, just as an example, I feel like a lot of athletes on campus, we travel a lot and we have so many games that are on the road that we kind of miss out on a lot of the activities on campus. And so I think one thing that's really like caught my eye is like, how can we better involve and get the students behind the athletics of this school? And not just them, other people groups on campus as well. Just like, how do we better involve the whole community of TFC instead of just Res Life or just SGA? And I feel like for me in Madison, if we were to become president and vice president, just coming up with events and working with our executive council to kind of promote events and plan them around scheduling of athletic events so that students will get to know, and it'll better the relationship between TFC athletics and the normal community of TFC.
One specific way Amber and I have talked about bettering this place here through our positions, if we are elected, is lighting up the campus, fixing the lighting system on campus outside so people feel safe to maneuver around campus at night. A lot of people like to run at night, and a lot of places on campus are dark. It can be scary. So we want to get the lights fixed and put up more lights so that you can feel comfortable outside. And in a broader scope, we want to facilitate growth in different avenues, specifically in leadership, equipping new leaders to take on the next generation. Each year we have people leave, and I feel like sometimes you have to start over from the beginning. You're like, well, I got to build this team and I got to do this, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Getting people here on campus who are good leaders and equipping them and training them and getting them ready to serve the student body and pour back into this place. Also, growth in spirituality, increasing discussions on how the Lord is working here on campus and individuals, and also as a community. Because sometimes you'll be talking about something and someone will be like, the Lord is like working on me in that area too, and like bringing those people together so you have opportunities for growth in small groups and then larger groups, and then you have something really powerful going across campus. And then growth in individuals, inviting people to pursue new friendships and mentorships by connecting them with people in the community, specifically through church outreach, getting them involved in churches so people can serve, because we're poured into so much here on campus, and if you're not pouring out, you're kind of wasting your time, I feel. So getting people involved in those areas, as well as getting people involved with professors here on campus and mentorship type relationships, because we have some really great professors with great life experience, and it'd be awesome to see people linking up with them, getting poured into, and having someone maybe even in their field that they want to go into when they graduate, being able to pour that into them. And also increasing events on campus that involve lower campus and upper campus coming together, because I feel like there's a divide between the underclassmen and the upperclassmen, and just bridging that gap.
Me and Kelsey have also talked about a lot about how we're each given God-given talents and passions. There's a problem with that because a lot of times it's easy to get hidden on campus if there's not an outlet to express that. And so I know a lot of times, like Tristan and Jacqueline talked about, creating accessibility to clubs this year, and they've done a lot of work for that, and we would just want to build on that next year. There's a lot of stuff on tfc.edu, but there's not as much on my TFC, and so we want to make sure that good descriptions of clubs as well as good contacts for clubs are available there. Making proactive Communication at clubs is also something that we would like to see happen even more. Yeah, I think that's.
Okay, thank you guys so much. So the next question, and this can be for both parties or one or whoever y'all want to do it, but what are some specific ways in which you plan to flesh out your vision for SGA and the TFC community?
So we, to just kind of focus our vision, we picked those two areas of specific areas of growth Austin and I wanted to focus on during our campaign. And we wanted to kind of use that as a vision for our executive council. So when we go into this fall, if we were to be elected, that's when we would get the details of our budget, who our specific executive council members are going to be, and that's when we can actually start talking more details. But we felt that it was important to have a narrowed down vision of the two areas of growth that we want to focus on. So that way, when we start out the year with our executive council, we can say, hey, these are the two areas of growth that we want to focus on. So can we plan events that fit under these categories? Can we focus on communicating with faculty and communicating with each other in ways that foster these two types of growth? So that was really centering around the idea of creating an atmosphere of home, specifically through these two avenues of spiritual growth and relational growth.
Like she said, through the avenue of the council, we're going to take those two aspects of relational and spiritual growth and just kind of, we're the catalyst for that. So vice president and presidents are the ones who kind of tell the council, like, this is our vision, this is what we're going to shoot for, and we need you guys to follow that. And we're going to give you free reign and like empowering leaders to do what they need to, empowering leaders to come up with events that they need to that follow those criteria and at least hit those two spots. But I think something that's going to allow us to flesh that out is just communication between us and the council. Because obviously, if we're being straightforward, if me and Madison are not focused on that vision, then how is the council going to do that? And so I believe that it's super important for us to set that early and set that quick, because if we can do that and if we can just focus our council around that, then I think that we can reach those two goals.
We kind of already laid it out there, but I'm going to say it again. Specifically equipping future leaders, building a good team of exec members, fixing the lighting on campus, and increasing access to clubs, as well as facilitating growth in different areas here on campus.
A lot of what we want to see in clubs as well as coordination between clubs. Sometimes there's a lot of events on one night and people want to participate but they can't because they're all at the same time. So we thought about making SGA like a central place for us to coordinate between those, as well as provide a space for club leaders to come together to create events together. So that would be like Res Live coordinating with STEM Club, which is kind of a crazy idea, but like, you know what could happen. So I think it would be really cool to see us grow together with our different interests because we're stronger together.
Cool. So the next question is more focused around the SGA president candidate. So a lot what you'll be doing next year is working hand in hand with the Student Senate. The Student Senate is an avenue for students to voice their opinions and ideas and ways to improve campus. So if you don't know about that, come talk to us later. But the question for you guys is, how do you plan to utilize the Student Senate to make positive changes for next year?
So I have a couple points I want to make about that. The first would be, I want to make members of the Student Senate, I want to make it more of a promoted role, and that people are more aware of what the Senate is and who those members are. That way they can be a better means of communication between the student body and us. So say, someone is on the Student Senate, no one knows who to send their concerns or their ideas to if we're not promoting that role and saying, hey, these are the people that are your means of communication to us. So I want to give that role promotion and, really encourage people to pursue that if they're interested in making a difference on campus. The second would be, I really want us to be proactive in the beginning of the year and establishing our goals and saying, what do we want to do? Let's start thinking of ideas early on, so that way we can start that process early and be proactive throughout our term.
I would like to specifically seek out people who would like to advocate on behalf of the entire campus, and also people who want to serve. Because I think that the Student Senate's really important here on campus, but a lot of people really don't know much about them or who they are. So even increasing access to them online would be awesome, and letting the people know who they are and what facet they're about, because there are different facets of the Senate, serve in different capacities. And also increasing the publicity of of the events that they have. We have about 2 a semester, maybe even increasing the number of those, figuring out ways the student body would want to come and voice their opinion, because a lot of time people are voicing their opinions, they're just voicing them to their friends or to the wrong people, and nothing's getting done about it. And so it also helps having open communication with different parties here on campus, people who are involved in different departments and whatnot. Because people are talking, we just want to hear them. So figuring out people who want to seek those people out. And I think that is important in seeking out people from different departments and different backgrounds, so that we're getting a variety of support on Senate.
Sweet. So the next question is also kind of directed towards the SGA president. So what character qualities do you possess that you believe will help you as the next SGA president?
So I think the first thing to say about that is I feel like I'm really hardworking. I really pour like 110% into whatever I do, sometimes to the point where I'm very hesitant to commit to things because I know that I will give 110% to it. And I'm very much a perfectionist in everything that I do. He's laughing because he knows it's true. But yeah, I work very hard in everything that I do, and I know that if I am elected, I am committed to this, and I will give it my all. I think the second thing would be just the preparation that I've had. Within the interpersonal communication department, I've learned a lot about leadership and working with small groups, and that's, I feel like, prepared me really well. And then also organization. I'm very passionate about organization and communication coupled together, and how we can stay organized as a team, and I believe that's the best way to be efficient.
I am very detail-oriented. Sometimes it's scary, which has really helped me in the past few years as the campus life chair planning events. Having lists running all the time and always being like, well, this one small thing will change everything, you know. Having that mindset. I'm also very organized, and I'm a great leader, and I'm an extremely driven individual to the point where if I start something, I'm going to finish it. I like seeing things through to the end, and I'm also pretty good at confrontation. So I don't mind advocating on behalf of the student body to people in higher up positions that may seem scary to some students, but I'm not afraid to go on their behalf in front of those people, because I want things to get done and I want people's voices to be heard.
Thank you. So this next question is for the Vice President. How do you plan to support/invest in student organizations and clubs?
So I sat down with Jacqueline and kind of had this conversation, and originally started off by saying, okay, how do you communicate with the clubs on campus? Because honestly, as a student, I have been involved with athletics, res life, and administration, but never had been a part of a club. And so I sat down with her, and she had told me that they, prior to her coming in, they didn't really have a system set up, but while she came in this semester, this year, she has implemented a new system. And I think one way that we could kind of bring that forth is just to tweak a little things. Have a master calendar that we can put online so that all presidents of clubs have access to. So you can see what SGA has open, what days are open, how many buses we have, like if you need to borrow speakers, what you can do. And so all that is available to club presidents. So that they can see that and it can be more organized. I think clubs kind of need to be more publicized because as a student, I mean, I get the TFC messengers, but honestly, sometimes I'll just click on them, see the sporting events, and then I'm out. You know, like I didn't actually scan them. So I think if there's a way that we can put those on my TFC somewhere where students can actually look at those and see them, and it's like in front of their face, because as college students we're always busy and we're going 110 miles an hour. Sometimes we don't run through emails like we probably should. And so I think those are some ways that we can really just not so much redefine clubs, but just kind of take the systems we have now and just kind of tweak them just a little bit, just so that presidents are still familiar with the system, but that it just runs a little more smooth.
I think a lot of what would help clubs is a lot of proactive communication with them, as well as proactive communication with the student body. I think that clubs are a great avenue for people to express themselves, but it's really hard for them to be able to be found. So like I said earlier, putting them on my TFC, as well as advertising them not only in like the flyers, because you can like look at the board, but are you going to stop and read it? Like, I don't know. But if we had them have like tables, we have a student fair once a semester, but I think having that multiple times a semester would help. And I think that a lot of proactive communication with team leaders would help a lot as well, because that'll help them be able to know when events are happening, what kind of things they have like available to them as resources, as well as communication between the team leaders, so that if there wants to be a pairing, they can have multiple resources from multiple clubs.
Cool. So the next question is for anybody who wants to answer. Both teams can answer, or both members of a team can answer. So how would you encourage students of all interests to be a part of the life here on campus?
I think I would just encourage students to get involved, first of all, because it is super important in, like we talked about earlier, building relationships, and to do it early on. I feel like if I were to come in this fall as SGA president, I'd really want to put a really strong emphasis on the new freshmen getting involved in groups, whether that be Barnabas groups, whether that be clubs, or getting a campus job, because I think all of those are avenues for building relationships. And I really want us to sit down and take a look. If Austin and I are elected, I want us to take a look at ways, possible groups that are not being reached on campus. Like Austin touched on, the athletes sometimes become their own subculture that we're not really always including in some of the things that we're doing. How can we make those groups of people feel like they're a part of the larger student body as a whole? And so I think it would take some sitting down for us and discussing what groups are being left out. How can we create more events specific for specific groups?
I think for me, I just want to emphasize that students that are being left out, like I know for me in Madison, we want Toccoa to be a place that they understand that they're welcome anywhere on this campus. Every student on campus has something to offer to the community of TAC, and so I think me and Madison really just want to push for that through relationships and spiritual growth. We just want to push that students are welcome, and this place can be your home for the next 4 years, so invest in it. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. We have. Oh, did you guys answer? I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Can you repeat the question? Yes. How would you encourage students of all interests to be part of campus life? Kelsey, this is a good question for you.
That was a good question for you. I'm really passionate about getting everybody involved in specific events. The ones I planned over the past 2 years. Like that's one of my main goals is everyone here on campus, like, is there an opportunity for them in this event to be able to express themselves and to be comfortable coming to participate in this event? And I really, I tried to get as diverse a group as I could for my committee, and just really leaning into the student body for their input in planning specific things. What kind of music do you want to hear at events? What kind of food do you want to have? Specific, like, do you have any venues that you may want to see us utilize in the future? And just figuring out specifically the different groups on campus, like what they want to see, and then putting that into action. Because like that's what we're here for. We're here to take what they want and to put it and use our resources and to put it into action.
I think a lot of of getting people involved is increased access and communication. So that means both access to us if we get elected, as well as the Senate. Like we said earlier, we would love to make the Senate like more accessible, as well as clubs, because those are a good outlet for us to express ourselves. I think a lot of more advertising is also necessary, so having good descriptions of events, as well as a main place where people can find like what's happening, when it's happening, also what it is, would help us to be able to communicate to students of all walks of life and of all different perspectives to be involved here, because we're, trying to grow as a community together. And I think that would be really great if we could make that happen.
Okay, thank you guys. So our last question for this question and answer time is, what do you believe makes TFC great?
So the thing, and I always tell this when I give tours to prospective students, like, this is just a place where community happens, and we have so much potential for that. I see it everywhere. Just the fact that we're such a close-knit campus, you do not find the relationships on this campus, but whether it be between students and faculty, you just do not find it on other college campuses. And so I think that's what gets me excited about running for student government president, because it gives me even more influence over that community, and like, how can we like foster the potential that we already have in this place, and how can we cause it or push it to grow even more. So that's what I think makes TFC great, is just the people and the genuine love that these people here have for our school, and the genuine love that they have for serving the Lord. And it makes me really excited.
That's really hard to follow. Okay. I think for me, something that's just I've learned over the last 3 years is just every person that you talk to on campus is so different. It doesn't matter if they look the same. They come from a different background, a different home. They have a different story. And I really learned this through res life and just getting to talk to residents I had on my halls. But man, the one thing I love about TFC, it doesn't matter who you talk to, there's always a story behind it. There's always something that happened in their life, something that's the Lord's working on, something that's just out of this world crazy that you would have never guessed just looking at them. And I think that just brings so much richness to the community of TFC, even though it is a small campus and we don't have a crazy amount of numbers like big campuses do. There's so many stories and so many different types of people from different backgrounds here that it just honestly just amazes me sometimes.
The main thing that I think makes TFC great is the Lord's presence here on this campus. There's just so many times where I've been even having like a one-on-one conversation or in a group, and you're just kind of like, wow, the Lord is here. The Lord is in this place, and He is at work in the lives of individuals. And it's a great thing to experience. And a really positive thing to go through. Another thing that I think the Lord's presence is in is the people, specifically in their passions and how He's created them and formed them, and how He wanted TFC to be, and sent specific people so that they could form this community and cultivate growth here. That's what I think makes TFC great.
A lot of what me and Kelsey talked about when we first started thinking about what we want our campaign to be was rooting purpose, growing passions, and uniting people. And I think that's our main goal, because there's already an element of that on this campus, which is what makes that great. Like, we're all here to seek after God and glorify Him, but we all have our different perspectives and aspects that we're trying to follow. And so I think it's really awesome that there is an element of unity on this campus, even though it needs a little help to bring it to a maximum. But just seeing, like, most of my friends aren't the same major as me. I'm friends with counseling psychology and like people of all walks of life. And so I think it's so cool that even though we're all so different, we all have one purpose, and that's to glorify God.
All right, so that was the end of our questions. So we're going to give each team a chance to have some final words that you maybe didn't get a question asked and you want to state something, or whatever the case is. So you guys can go ahead and start.
if elected, we really just want to foster growth in so many different ways here on campus. Just getting people involved, getting people feeling like their voices are heard, and increasing our communication with the community. It's really important to pour into this place because some of the people in the community have a bad taste in their mouth for us here, and we're so isolated. Becoming more outgoing as a student body, and also just promoting growth in as many ways as we can and having open communication.
I would just say that, hey, I've had a great time running, and I think that I've been like so honored that people would even care to listen to me. But I would just want to like completely agree with Kelsey, and we just want to make sure that next year, if we get in office, we want to foster growth and listen to everyone because everyone has a place here and God has a purpose for everyone. And so we want to just be a catalyst, and we want to shine the spotlight on them. Like, we don't, it's not like we're up here because we want to like look pretty or anything. But yeah, we just want to make sure that people are, have their place here and grow into who God wants them to be.
We love this place.
So one of the things I was thinking about was when I worked for Chick-fil-A in high school, one of the things that they taught us as we were going through training was you want to create what they call raving fans. And so it was this whole idea of how can we make people raving fans for Chick-fil-A? Like, how can we make them like Chick-fil-A fanatics? And I feel like I'm definitely like a TFC fanatic. Like, I was like counting down literally the days till I got to move in, like my last year of high school. And like when I went home for the summer, I was like, I can't wait to go back. So I definitely feel like I'm a raving fan of this place, and I want to create that type of feeling, especially this fall as we have a whole new class of students come in. Like, how can we create raving fans? And so just with that, thinking about also just the idea of home, coming back to that we talked about, this is our community. This is where we have been placed for this season of life, and I believe that we ought to be good stewards of that. And so I want to use, if I am elected, use it as a platform of influence and just creating a place that students can call home, a place where we want to feel connected, a place where we can feel connected, and a place that when we graduate, we can look back and say, I began some of the most impactful relationships of my life, and I came to a deeper understanding of the Christian faith and a deeper relationship with the Lord.
Well, I didn't work at Chick-fil-A. Yeah, so I think I agree with Madison and what she says, and for me, I just want people to experience CFC like I've experienced CFC. It has honestly changed my whole perspective of like what a Christian is meant to be, what community is like, how to surround yourself with that. And I think for just the freshmen coming in and students that are already on campus, I don't know, I just really want people to understand what this place means to students here on campus, and how to turn this place into a home, and how to turn this place into somewhere you're going to be for the next 4 years. Because I know me and Madison have touched on just kind of the drop rate of students that come in for the first year and then leave, or first semester and leave, and even in athletics, how many students come in and leave. And so I think for us, and one thing that we just really love about TFC, it has the ability to make people feel welcome and make people feel like they are at their second home. I think for me, it was like really serious when I typed in my GPS how to get here, and it was like home, Tacoma Falls College, and that was at the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the place I'm going to spend for the next 4 years of my life, preparing me for whatever the heck is out there after this, not on this little campus. So I think for me and Madison, we just want people to experience CFC like we have, and just let it grow on them like it has us.
Thanks, guys. So we do have a couple write-in questions that people have submitted. So the first one is for everyone, and the question is, how are your current relationships on campus reflective of how you will serve as an SGA president and vice president for the next year?
Well, I'm currently in leadership. I'm the Campus Life Executive Chair of Student Government, and I already am in charge of a group of about 10 to 15 people, depending on who comes to the meetings once a week, and I lead these groups. Start off prayerfully. My hope is that I can make each of these individual people feel loved. And my hope in serving, if we are to get this position, is to make people here on campus feel loved, specifically leadership down. So there's just love flowing through the whole entire campus, and people feel important and not isolated, because no man is an island.
Currently, I am editor for the Talent, and I'm also the resource director for the STEM Club. And in doing both of those things, I have either students coming to me asking for help for internships, or I have my team of writers, which I'm in charge of. And with my team of writers specifically, a lot of what I do is assigning articles for them to read, but then I just say, go do it and learn. And a lot of what I have to do is communicate what I want from them, as well as what they're doing and how they could do better so that they're growing as a writer, not just submitting an article for their SAO. And in resource director, I have really enjoyed the opportunity to help people seek out opportunities for what they want to do so that they can grow in their career development.
So as the president, I would have a lot of communication with the faculty at the school. And I really feel thankful for my experience in the Office of Admissions, because I've gotten to work with faculty from all over campus through that job. I work with coaches, contacting them about recruits. I work with professors and set them up with meetings with students, and then just working under our Director of Admissions, Ronnie Stewart, and hearing his vision for the direction that he wants the school to go in the upcoming years has really kind of given me that sort of like insider scoop kind of on the direction that school's moving in terms of enrollment and numbers. And so I kind of have that perspective and that relational experience with faculty and working under people from the school. I feel like that's prepared me really well for this role.
Yeah, for me, obviously if we are elected president and vice president, I want to practice what we preach. Obviously, we want people to grow spiritually and make relationships. And for me, that's in every aspect of my life. And so whether it's the housemates that I can be super vulnerable with and share my deepest struggles and how they can help me work through that, or whether it's Friday night volleyball with the Mongs in the gym, or John Wood, who's RA in Forest now, who was my resident last year, and just building up leaders to take your place once you leave. Or it's the relationship with Thomas Burnett, who's the youth pastor of River Point. We really, for me, I want to be for my council what I want them to be. So I want to be connected in every aspect of the community at Toccoa and the community outside of Toccoa. And if I'm gonna ask you to do something, I would fully expect you for me to do that as well. And so as far as my relationships in regards of SGA, I want to practice what I preach. I'm gonna make those relationships, meet new people, learn more about them, be deep relationally with people who are really close to me, help other students, whether that's in youth ministry or on campus. And so regarding to SGA, I just want to be a catalyst for that and lead the way that they expect me to lead.
Okay, and the last write-in question is, what are your top 3 goals for next fall, and how quickly are you planning to achieve these goals? So, and you've kind of talked about your goals and your vision, but maybe if you could summarize into 3 points, what are your top 3 goals?
First, we want to promote growth through many different avenues, specifically bringing people together to facilitate the growth, also opening communication for spiritual growth, and then growth within the community. Second thing would be increasing the communication for clubs so that people feel that their voices are heard, and so that people are able to do things through what they're passionate about, and making sure that each individual person feels valued here on this campus. And the third thing would be the lights, fixing the lights. We really want to brighten up this place. And the weather's about to get beautiful, and it'll be beautiful for a while. It'll get cold again. But specifically, we just want just want this place to feel safe, so people can go outside at nighttime.
So my 3 main goals, I want to begin I want to begin working on these as early as possible. In the middle, sorry, I literally can't talk. Okay, I want to start these as early as possible when if we get elected, because I believe that's going to help us be the most proactive. And I think the first one of those would be helping give opportunities for students to actually plan events. I really want to help students become leaders. So one of the ways I want to do that is kind of ask ourselves, how can we use our budget and set aside part of that budget for student planned events. And so say, hey, this is our designated money for students to use to help plan a weekend event, and give that to someone, whether they're involved in a club, whether they're the president of a club, whether they're not involved in a club at all. I want to give them an opportunity for leadership in planning campus events. The second would be partnering with Spiritual Life. I would really love to help put on worship events like outside, maybe at the falls, and use some of our budget money for that, because we already have students doing that, like in Forest. There's guys that do that, and I just think it's awesome, and I want to use the resources that we have in student government to make those even better. And then thirdly, I did have, between me and Austin and I, we had some conversations with presidents of some of our clubs on campus last week, and just kind of got their insights on maybe ideas for next year and things that they would like to see. And I just really want to better the publicity of those clubs, kind of like what Austin was talking about earlier, and just giving those events promotion, so that way if students do feel like they're uninvolved, they know about those events and have an easier way to get plugged in.
All right, I got one more. Like I said before, athletics is really big for me, and one goal that I really want TFC to just kind of fall into is supporting athletic events on campus. I know there's students out here, and I've been one of those, that we have school and we have homework and everything like that, but man, you don't understand how hard our athletes work to, one, put on a show for you guys and represent TFC as a whole, whether that's to other colleges or just in general. And so even for basketball games, soccer games, baseball games, man, I want the TFC community, and this is one thing we're hoping for relationally when it comes to our 2 themes, is to just back them up and show them support, and just kind of bridge that gap between TFC athletics and just the normal community of TFC.
Okay, thank you guys so much for sharing your heart with us and your vision, and just being able to be vulnerable and share with what's going on in your heart and why you want to do this. I know it is not always an easy thing to stand up in front of a group and talk about, things, but I really respect you guys for having the courage to do that, and for just having the passion to want to be a part of advocating for the student body and leading something that is so important and can be difficult. So thank you guys for doing that. And so I just want to encourage you guys to get out there and vote. Like Kelsey was saying, we all have something to say. It just is a matter of being heard. So make sure you are being heard. Make sure you're getting out there and voting. Both of these candidate options would be amazing options. So please get out there and vote for which one resonates with you. It doesn't matter which one. You don't even have to tell anybody. But it is super important to get out there and vote and just share your opinion and be a part of what you believe in. So thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. I hope you were enlightened and enjoyed what you heard and got to know the candidates better. And I hope you all have a great week and get out there and vote. We'll have a station out there in the Student Center. It's all going to be online. So you'll receive an email in the morning through the TFC SGA email. So make sure you can either vote through that avenue, or we will have computers out in the Student Center all throughout the week until Thursday. So whatever avenue you choose to use, make sure you use it. And y'all have a great week. Thank you guys for coming out.